here's your host, Alex Garrett.
Well, to my friends on LinkedIn and my friends that follow through my Instagram, I do hope you enjoyed my interview replay with my mom, Lori Sue Brockway. I shared that on my story, and you can find it on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. But today I haven't been on in a little bit, but I've got to talk about something that still bothers me, because the disruption of the subway system a couple weeks ago still sticks with me in the protest of Jordan Neely's death. It also sticks with me that after it was revealed Daniel Penny, the Marine, was going to be charged with second-degree manslaughter, that veterans are being kicked out of the shelter system and everything else in place for the migrants. Our hardworking U.S. veterans who served are being kicked out. And I'll post a link to that. But then, this observation eye and ear thing I've been talking about with my dad, I happened to catch Mayor Adams on New York One yesterday, and I want you to hear this exchange on Mornings with the Mayor on New York One every Tuesday. And the reporter that talked to him, Jamie Stelter, wife of Brian, talked with the mayor about this ever-growing tension over the death of Jordan Neely.
Struggling with this. Have you been losing sleep over this, Mr. Mayor?
Anytime I lose a person in this city, it devastates me. I take it personal. When this happened, my ultimate responsibility as the mayor is to ensure that this is a safe city. And we have been successful in driving down our major crimes, driving down homicides and shootings. The death of Jordan, who also has the same name as my son, devastated me. It hurt me in many ways. As a former transit police officer, I understand how important this subway system is, and that's why we drove down crime. That's why we really put our subway safety plan in place. My heart goes out to his family. It has impacted our city, and now the case is in the hands of the district attorney's office, where justice will be served, and he will have an opportunity to go to court and have this case heard in the court system.
Well, and let's talk about that court case a little bit, because the attorneys for Daniel Penny have raised more than $2 million for his legal defense. Clearly, there are people who believe that he was trying to do the right thing. How does that make you feel?
I think right now we should allow this case to move forward with our criminal justice system, and it's up to the district attorney to determine exactly how that is going to take place. Again, my heart is to the family, and my heart is to the people of this city. This has impacted us all. And when I sat down and communicated with the Jordan in my life, my son, we talked about the devastation of something like this. And anytime I lose a New Yorker in this city, I take it personal, as I stated. That's my ultimate goal, and my role as the mayor is to create a safe environment.
Well, and in keeping with that safe environment goal of yours, when New Yorkers see someone who might be mentally disturbed on the subway, what is it that you would like them to do?
Well, think about it for a moment. You remember when I rolled out our mental health plan, and I clearly pointed out the need of giving individuals services when they are in danger to themselves or they can't take care of their basic needs. There were many people who were advocates around this issue, did not understand the plan and pushed back on what we were trying to do. We must give services to the small number of people who cannot take care of their basic needs and they are in danger to themselves. This is crucial, and we're hoping Albany would join us on that. But those everyday New Yorkers, they should call the 311 or 911 system if a person is doing something extremely dangerous, so proper personnel could respond, and that includes mental health professionals, and in those cases where it's needed, a law enforcement professional. It's a combination of the two that's going to ensure a person can get the care that they need, and that's what we did in the subway system. Over 4,000 people we interacted with and were able to get off the subway system. Some stayed in care. Some decided to go to other locations. But we have been proactive on this issue because we know the challenge of dealing with those with severe mental illness that can't take care of their basic needs and in danger to themselves.
Well, we are with you in hoping that New York's top 50 list of homeless people at risk, that your administration can help protect those other 49. We know Jordan Neely was on that top 50 list. Mayor.
Which I didn't know that he was on the top 50 list of the mentally disturbed. And I don't mean to laugh, but it is kind of crazy that all of a sudden he's dead. And after what some are reporting are threats were made to people's lives on the subway before Daniel Penny took action. Do you know he's raised $1.8 million the Legal Defense Fund has for Daniel Penny? And then I want to go back to, and the one thing that was missing, and Jamie Stelter did a great job, but I wish she asked one question. Mr. Mayor, if the protests continue to disrupt the subway system, what would you do? Are you okay with the subway system being disrupted in honor of Jordan Neely? Or do you feel like, as I've said before, diplomacy over disruption is the way to go? I hope maybe one day the mayor will be asked that question as we are on the verge of the funeral for Jordan Neely. And the other one that I want to follow up with is that there is the Yerrick Israel Tony Foundation, who is a foundation on behalf of veterans, homeless veterans, and nearly 24 struggling homeless veterans have been booted from upstate hotels to make room for migrants. So that's been happening upstate. We pray that doesn't happen downstate, although there are a lot of homeless downstate veterans that we see daily. Even if we don't know that they are there on the streets of New York, and that's a sad reality we face. And so all of this, it is just a point to show that New Yorkers cannot defend themselves now because they'll be worried they'll be charged against a menacing person with mental illness and possibly homeless. And it's a coup against the veterans. That's how I feel about it too. This is a coup against the veterans. Here's a Marine who, yes, he shouldn't have taken the guy's life into his hands, but he did. And I think he was trying to subdue him to make sure he never acted on anybody. And I'd say, but who knows how many lives he would have saved, right? That's how I feel about it too. And yes, he should have called police after subduing him and not going for 15 minutes. But the idea of the veterans being poked and prodded at and now evicted and charged with trying to defend their country and their city and their subway system doesn't sit right with me. But I think the mayor echoed what I had seen by Bombas. I don't know if you know the company Bombas. They are actually shoemaking, sock makers. And Bombas had this great sign, okay? Most homeless New Yorkers have a job, often more than one. Sometimes a job isn't enough. See the full picture at bebetter.com. So visit bebetter.com, BEE, better.com, because as I say on my Facebook, we can complain, we can debate, we can disrupt subways over a bystander taking a life, or we can do the research, and we can be better, New York City. On that note, I'm Alex Garrett, lining up some guests over the next week, so stay tuned for that and more on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.